tok jonkon.
Why it is our diocesan patron feast day is because the Cathedral of Our Lady of the Assumption is dedicated.
Do not have it in their mindset or in their psyche that we are playing against Algeria.
Hello and good evening to each and every one of you watching iAfrica TV right now. This is Sports Today on iAfrica TV. I'll be your host, Sajo Sambu, together with my co-host, Mama Fal and Ismail Asonko. But first of all, as you know, this is a custom here on iAfrica TV. Each and every time we come on this platform on Sports Day on iAfrica TV, first I will allow my host to introduce themselves, and starting with my immediate boss at my right-hand side. Welcome on the iAfrica TV Sports Today.
Thank you very much, Sadia, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Next, my co-host and my left.
Thank you very much, Sadio, and pleasure to be here today.
Well, viewers, this is iAfrica Sports Today here on iAfrica TV. For the first time in a couple of months, we've been absent on this platform due to some issues we are trying to regulate. But thank goodness we are back again on iAfrica TV. And as I said earlier, today we have a very full capacity table here in front of you to take you into the world of sports, especially in the home front. As you know, May Day is fast approaching here in the Gambia, so celebrated worldwide for workers, and the Gambia is not left behind. We will have details of that coming in this program tonight. And also, the first ever Combo Central District Women Girls Empowerment Tournament kicks on the way at at Kitty Village, a village at Combo, at Brikama, or we call it West Coast Region. But first of all, we will have collective discussion here pertaining to the May Day. Before we will bring you authorities who had spoken to this magnificent day, I would first of all ask my colleague, my immediate boss, Mama, what do you know about May Day?
Well, thank you very much, Sadio. May Day used to be a very busy day because it's the mass sports, as we call it, because it's a day set aside for workers. And Gambia has decided to celebrate May Day in a grand and unique style, as we heard from the authorities themselves, how it started, how it emulated, and how other countries want to emulate Gambia to celebrate May Day. So May Day is always a great day for Gambia, especially sports.
Wow. Ismail Asonko is set aside for all civil servants, right?
Yeah, that's true, and I think Mama rightly mentioned it as this is a day that is chosen by the worlds and world workers day to come out together to discuss about their affairs. But in Gambia here particularly, we choose to do it in a sport way that is going to be entertained the audience and the entire Gambian. That is why this day it is very important, and it's going to be a very, very historically to the Gambian to see workers together at the Independence Stadium yesterday. That make the day to be very significant to the Gambia.
Thank you very much, Ismaila. As preparations for the annual mass sports, commonly known as May Day Sports, which is held every 1st May and organized by the National Sports Council, are in high gear despite the low turnout of participating institutions. Speaking in an interview with iAfrica TV, the executive director of the council, Mr. Marcel Mendy, said the whole day event brings together workers from both private and government institutions who take part in sport activities ranging from running and climbing, among others. However, according to him, the event has taken a drastic U-turn from the past years, as so far registered institutions have dropped from 70 to 30 this year. Listen to Marcel Mendy.
This is actually quite a very important program. Normally, during the day, May Day, here in the Gambia, we bring together workers to a whole day event that is punctuated by different sports events, running here and there, pulling there, and sometimes even climbing and even hitting, because there is also the pillow fight, which takes the form of hitting. This is a day, or this is an event that takes the whole day on May 1st, and it's normally organized by a national organizing committee under the auspices of the National Sports Council of the Gambia. And we have institutions that come to register to take part in this, after which there is a banquet at which awards or certificates are presented to deserving winners. Basically, this is the scope. This is how the May Day sports or mass sports looks like.
Okay, as you speak, how many companies are already on your list to participate?
So far, we have about 30 institutions, unlike what we used to have. I mean, we used to have up to about 70, 71 institutions, but unfortunately, this year the number has drastically gone down. We have about 30 institutions on our list. Of course, we're looking forward to even having a few more, before even the day, because some of them have been calling and saying that they're still processing their payments, they're still processing their registration here and there. We also gotten information about some who've already even bought their tax shoes and all of that, yet we haven't got their checks for registration. So we're looking forward to having quite a few more. But then again, like I said, the number is gone down drastically. And some of the reasons for that is the fact that there is this kind of confusion. Some of them, you approach them, they will tell you, yeah, government has said no one should participate, or institutions must not participate in May Day. I wonder where they got that from, because as far as I know, the National Sports Council, we haven't gotten any official letter to that effect, stopping institutions from participating in the May Day sports. After all, the National Sports Council, the custodian and the organizers of the May Day sports, is a government institution. So for me, it would have even made more sense if really that was the case, government asking institutions not to take part. It would have made more sense for government to have written to the Sports Council and say, stop organizing May Day sports, instead of writing to institutions or telling institutions. So therefore, it's a bit confusing. And like I said, until now, we haven't got any letter to that effect. But you talk to certain institutions, they will tell you, well, we would want to participate, but there is this information that government institutions should not take part in the May Day sports. And we strongly believe that that is the reason why the number is gone down. But a lot of negotiation is going on, a lot of consultation is going on, and it may be too late for this year though, but I can tell you for free that come next year, it is almost certain that all those institutions that used to participate, will come back and participate.
You were the very one who had this interview with Marcel Mende. He raised some important issues pertaining to this May Day, that some institutions are not participating because they said the government might have written to them not to participate in May Day. Secondly, the number of registration also has drastically dropped from 70 to 30. And then among other hosts, he said, but you looked at it, why would you think the institutions are not registering as before, and two, why would government write to certain institutions to tell them not to even participate in this May Day? Do you think that's something?
Well, as Marcel put it, they did not receive any communication to effect of government stopping institutions or companies from participating in the May Day sports. So he is saying that it might be a misunderstanding, because that's what they were hearing since last year. Companies were not coming forward, and if they asked, they said they have received an information pertaining not to take part in the May Day sports. But as he said, he works with the National Sports Council under the Ministry of Youth and Sports, and there is nothing like any communication from government, neither from the Select Committee of the National Assembly on Sports, to ask companies or government institutions not to participate in May Day sports. So he says that this year it might be very late because tomorrow is May Day and some companies have not registered yet. But come next year, they will make sure that they go back to the parent, that is Ministry of Youth and Sports, to take it up at the cabinet level. The interview was cut, but he mentioned something like that he has already engaged with the Minister of Youth and Sports for him to take it to cabinet level, so that it will be clear to everybody whether government has stopped institutions or government ministries from participating in May Day sports. So I think that must have been a misconception or misunderstanding somewhere, or miscommunication somewhere. That's why some of these institutions are not forthcoming.
Ismaila, the number of institutions registered this year dropped drastically from 70 institutions down to 30, not even half. What do you know, or do you think, what do you think might be the reason of these various institutions that have been participating not coming forward this year?
Thank you very much, Sajo. Once again, when I had the figures that dropped from the 30 to 70 to 30%, I was so shocked and surprised about the figures because when I was a school-going student, I really loved to go to the Independence Day on 4th of May to go and sit and watch the pillow fight and other stuff things, and climbing and running from the government official and institution companies in the country. But if the figures dropped from 70 to 30, that is going to be very shocking to me. And if not me only, the others who love sport much, they will be very surprised to see these figures dropping from 70 to 30, because Gambia, if you say sport, despite the fact that we are not doing much into the sport, but we love sport and we love to watch these activities during the 1st of May. But if you see that this thing is happening, it's going to discourage the people to go and attend the events. Because if you are not participating, like Gambega is there to participate, and I'm fan of Gambega whatsoever, but I'm not seeing them to there, I'll be surprised and ask question, why is people are not participating? So if the government says that government institutions will not be participating into the May Day sport activities, what are they telling the Gambian people? And what are they telling to the sport lovers in this country? That means that they don't want to see our sport to be developed, and they want to see the good collaboration between the companies, between the government parastatals and other government agencies, because May Day brought together so that they can build friendship and other stuff inside you. I think these issues will be looked into the consideration very, very well.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ismaila. Cheating also became a very normal norm now into the Gambian sports, or in fact into the entire world. And then the executive director again discussed with my colleague who is right there sitting with me, Mama Fall, the disciplinary measures that will be taken against any institution caught cheating or any foul play by any company. More on that, here is an insight of the discussion.
That's a fact. I cannot agree more with those that have complained about that. We've been doing a lot in that regard. If you were at the May Day Sports last year, you realized that up to about 2 or 3 institutions forfeited points in certain events because they used people not because they are students, but because, or neither were they just national athletes, but because they are not on their payroll. The May Day Sports is meant for people on the payrolls of the institutions. They have to have proof of them being their staff for at least 6 months. Anybody who's not on the payroll of any institution does not qualify to contest for them. Whether they are student or not, it does not qualify them. Yeah. But then let me come to the issue of national athletes. It doesn't matter if you are a national athlete or not. So long as you are on the payroll of the institution, you qualify to contest for them. Whether you are the best for the Gambia, let's say in 200 meters, so long as you are a staff of, let's say, any institution, for instance, the National Sports Council, you qualify to contest in the name of the National Sports Council. But what is not right is that you not being on the payroll of the institution and you contest in the name of that institution. If that happens, the institution forfeits point in that event. And if they persist, in other words, if they continue doing that, if they continue using people who are not on their payrolls, they risk being suspended from participating in the May Day Sports. I mean, we have some rules. We have institutions are encouraged to appeal. They can appeal on the spot. Also, we have judges. We have the NOC, who know quite a good number of people. We are connected. When institutions appeal, quickly, we convene and, we do some little consultation and research here and there and findings here and there. And eventually, if we find out that, yes, it is true, the one that is being appealed against is not, a bona fide staff of the institution, they forfeit the point, and it is there and then announced during the May Day that institution A, B, and C used athlete A, B, and C who is not on their payroll, and therefore, they forfeit the points. Yeah, that normally happens. So, like I said, we are quite vigilant. We have this appeals committee that looks into all of these things, and we encourage institutions, to expose any institution that does that. But also, we've been appealing to them and talking to them and warning them against using people who are not on their payroll. They will always do it, but they risk losing points and even being suspended from participating in the May Day Sport. In fact, this time, not only will we suspend forfeit points, but also even team managers, because we had also gotten some bad experiences with team managers. That is those that represent their institutions. Some of them will willfully, use people they know very well are not on their payroll. And when they, they get disqualified or when they forfeit points, they come, causing trouble and insulting and, saying all sorts of things. In the event that happens, they are fined. And until that fine is paid, their institution will not participate in the subsequent Mayday Sports. So these are mechanisms that we are trying to put together so that the Mayday Sports will be an event that people will come and enjoy and have fun and then go home peacefully. And anyone who wins will really be the deserved winner, and not just an institution that brought in people and paid them $200 or $300 or $100 each just for them to participate here. I mean.
Again, cheating come into the circle again here. It seems as the Gambian people are not doing away with cheating, Mama, here, because it has surfaced in any level of Gambian sports here, especially when it comes to football. Why can Gambians do away with cheating? We have a Mayday sport here meant to bring people together, have fun together. It's not a competition about dead or alive thing. Mama, it is just to make fun. But again, teams are cheating or institutions are cheating here.
Well, I think Marcel has done justice to the question because he has answered it right the way I posted the question. It was because some companies will cry foul and say that this company registered this particular personnel and he or she is not enrolled in that particular institution or company that we're talking about. So they have taken measures. Last Mayday, I can vividly remember, I don't want to call company's name, but some of the companies, their points were forfeited. And then this time he's saying they will go up to the extent of banning or suspending that particular institution or company from taking part in the subsequent Mayday sports. So I think we should do away with that. If you want somebody to run for you or participate in an event for you, I think the best thing and he or she is good at what he or she is doing, the best thing is to hire the person to do that particular job for you. Because we have seen most of the services team, they have sports component, they are just employed to do sports for them. So I think other companies or institutions should also do the same so that they will have, if they want to win, they must invest on sports so that but others will not see it as priority. It's just once in a year, so but I think we should pass that stage.
Ismaila, let us look at it at the technical side of it. The sport, we look at the technical side of it. When a team or an institution is caught cheating, what the measures the technical or the technical director or the Marcel is saying here is to suspend teams or in fact not allow them to participate or give them fines or take them out of the sideline. Do you think those are cheap disciplinary measures, or should they implement more harsh decisions, or should this be enough?
If you look at the Mayday, the concept of the Mayday sport, celebrating Mayday in terms of sport in Gambia, just to create a fun. But if you up to an extent that you are going to ban the company for being the cheating or whatsoever do, so it's going to be it's going to be reduce the participation of the company to the events. What Marcel should do, or what the body should do, let them, instead of banning, let them just give them fine before the next year so that they can pay the fine, and that will encourage other people to come. But cheating, we think that it is the beauty of the sport, but that will not take us anywhere if you are bound to cheat at any moment, at any time. Because if you do cheating, it's not going to be reflected on that day, but the following day, people will realize that this man or this particular person or this particular institution has cheated. So that's going to take us. That's going to take us anywhere. So what they should do, if they found any company or any government agency cheating during the Mayday sport, then just provide a fine for the person so that the person can pay the money before the end of the next year event. But if they want to ban the company or measures that that will reduce the participation of the company to the Mayday sport, because it's just a fun. And Gambia here, what makes these things beautiful, in other countries like Western world and whatsoever country in Africa here, people do in form of demonstration, protest and other stuff. But Gambia, we say sports so that we can have fun among ourselves. So let us look at these things together. Instead of banning them, let us provide a finding for them so that they can pay before the next Mayday celebration in the Gambia here.
Gambian workers are stretching up their muscles for the annual Mayday Sports slated for tomorrow Wednesday at the Independence Stadium in Bakau. The annual occasion will bring together institutions, companies to interact and participate in various events such as tug of war, athletics and other sporting disciplines. The event, now organized by the National Sports Council, was initiated by George F. Gomez, the then Executive Secretary of the Gambian National Olympic Committee, GNOC, in 1991 to bring together workers from different institutions and companies to build friendship among them. Ahead of tomorrow's event, iAfrica TV visited George Gomez at his office at the Independence Stadium and first asked him what motivated him to come up with Mayday Sports.
Well, Mayday Sports was started in 1991 after I was appointed Executive Director of the National Olympic Committee, and one of my mandates was to raise funds and to make sports accessible and popular. And I thought of having an event where all the workers would come and converge, have sports together, make friends with each other. And I thought this would be a good thing for the workers to know each other. And one of my reasons for excuses for doing it was to get people to be friends together. I say, if you can make two friends every Mayday Sports of people that you are not working with, and you will then be putting almost 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 Gambians to know each other and to become friends. And that's going to be good for our community and for our country. That was one of the excuses. That was why I looked at sports as a means of getting people together. The other reason was to see whether people can use sports as a means of keeping fit. Because at the time in 1991, when you finish work, you have nowhere to go. People just go in and sit together, play draft. And I thought that was not good for the health of the nation. And if you can put together an event where people can come together and do sports, then they will keep fit. And a fit individual, worker is a fit. A fit individual creates a fit nation, and a fit nation is a productive nation. And that was why I thought, well, sports would be a good idea to bring people together. And I proposed this to the Olympic Committee, and they thought it was a good idea as well. And so we were killing two birds with one stone. One, to raise funds through Mayday, through sports, by organizing Mayday Sports, and B, to get the people to use sports as a means of keeping fit. So we threw the idea to the companies. In the first instance, we threw the idea to the unions, and the unions were not very happy about it to start with. But after a series of meetings, we were able to convince them that that's the right way to go in terms of celebrating Mayday. Because before, in 91, what used to happen was that the unions would have a march in the afternoon going to the KG5 in Banjul. But their marches were not well supported. Only the children would be going there and following the drums and things like that. But the actual workers were not then going to these marches. So it was poorly attended. So I used that as a reason of telling them, look, if you come with us to do the sports, we can get all the workers to come in the morning and do the march with you. So you'll move your march from the afternoon to the morning so that the workers can come and join you.
On the reasons of dropping in numbers of participating institutions, Mr. Gomez said there is a need to revisit the event and program of the Mayday Sports. It becomes monotonous saying what was interesting 10 years ago cannot be the same today. George.
A lot of things have changed over the years, but some of the events maybe are not relevant anymore and needs to be looked at. Some of the organization in terms of where people sit, what are they allowed to do during the event, needs to be reviewed. And if this is not done, the event becomes monotonous. And if the event becomes monotonous, then you have a problem. People will start withdrawing. And I want to think maybe there should be the current organizers now should sit together and look at what needs to be done, what needs to be changed, what needs to be added, what needs to be deleted. Now, unless they do that, people get monotony, they get disinterested, and they will not attend. We have, over the years, since we started Media Sport, tried a lot of things. In the first 2 years, we used to have wrestling. We used to invite the professional wrestlers to come and to wrestle during Media Sports. And that became very popular. People used to come just to see the wrestling. Maybe that will not apply now. But you look at things that will attract people to come, A, to watch, and B, to participate. Watch. The audience is very important. Because if I'm running and nobody is there to look at me, I will not run tomorrow. But if I'm running and people come to look at me, they will start clapping for me, and tomorrow that will encourage me to come. So you need to get things that will interest the people so that they will come next time. And unless that is done, I am afraid Media Sports would have less and less and less, and eventually will die.
Well, that's the initiator of the Media Sports, George F. Gomez, there in 1991, taking his own version of why the participation of institutions are dropping. But, Mama, could that be the only reason why institutions are not coming forward? Like we used to have 70 and now 30?
Well, I think some of the issues pertaining to that has already been highlighted by Marcel Mendy. He has already said that maybe because of that notion of communication from government stopping companies from participating could be a reason. But he is also, if you hear George, he was saying that some of the interesting parts of Mayday is no more seen. Maybe that is the reason why some of these companies, or even those who wants to come and watch, will not come, because they don't see it fun anymore, because they see it more of a competition and all that. Before, Mayday was fun. You see your mother that's 50 above going to the stadium running. It will be fun. You see your dad. Some of them, because if you hear him well, he's saying that the more thing that motivated him was Workers' Day. Everybody is during working hours. Everybody is in the office and it's not healthy and all that. So the thought of Mayday came to him, and then he said, well, if we celebrate Workers' Day with mass sports, that will have a healthy body, healthy mind, and then healthy nation as well, as he put it. So I think maybe there are two things involved. One is because of that communication that many people think that it's from government, and the other thing is they don't find Mayday fun anymore.
Ismaila, he said the events have obviously become monotonous, and then he is suggesting that the organizers should begin looking into sports that have not been highlighted or have been left behind. But Ismaila, here, if he is talking the sports have been monotonous, what type of sports do you think could be implemented or could be introduced into this Mayday sports?
Thank you very much once again, Sergio. You know, if you want everything to be going finely, I think the best thing to do is the early communication. To make a communication early as soon as possible before the day commences. But if you just sit 15 minutes to the event, you want to call for somebody to come and register, or you want to make an advert, obviously you will late and you will not receive the amount of people you want to receive. And that is also part of the reasons why companies are not well registered as they said. And what Joyce said is true, because in those days, 1991, I cannot say anything about 1991, but after 1991 to 2000 and whatsoever up to now, maybe if we see the Mayday, as he said, because he initiated of the Mayday sport, but what we see in previous Mayday is different from what we see since 17, 18, and 19 is yet to become, but 17 and 18 is quite different and is dropping. So I think the authority responsible for this Mayday sponsorship or whatsoever organizers should be looked into this, or they went back to the videos. I think there must be videos. I don't know whether there's videos in 1991 up to 1994.
Could dancing be introduced as now the younger generation are more into this music dancing?
To witness how these things been organized about the media, what is media impact, so that they will learn from those things and they organize much more better than this. Because if you look at, instead of, we are saying that now in this digital world, things will have increased, but it's reducing. So there's a problem in somewhere. Even themselves, they don't know where that problem is coming from. So I think they should sit, put their head together and work together as a team, consult the ministry concerned, consult National Assembly concerned about the sport activities, so that this thing will be strong. Because if what a country tomorrow, if you watch TVs in Western TVs, you will see them demonstration. Most of the part of the world will be used as a demonstration to increase the salary. But Gambia, we are not talking about the increasement of salary. What we are saying, fund and build relationship among the workers in the Gambia. This will be very interesting.